The words hung in the air between us like poison. "You're not worth fighting for anymore, Emma." My husband Derek said it so casually, as if he was commenting on the weather. We stood in our kitchen, the same one where we'd shared morning coffee for 8 years. I gripped the counter behind me, feeling the cold marble against my palms. He didn't even look sorry. His eyes were distant, already somewhere else. Someone else. I'd suspected for weeks, maybe months. The late meetings that never appeared on his work calendar. The new cologne. The way he'd started going to the gym at odd hours. But hearing him say those words out loud made everything real. "I've met someone," he continued, checking his phone. "Ashley from the office. She makes me feel alive again." Ashley. The 26-year-old marketing assistant. I'd met her at the company party last month. She'd laughed at all his jokes, touched his arm constantly. I should have known then. I stood there, processing his words while he scrolled through his phone, probably texting her. 8 years of marriage, reduced to this moment. I'd given up my job as a corporate trainer to support his career moves. 3 different cities, 3 fresh starts. Each time, I'd rebuilt my life around his ambitions. "When did this start?" I asked quietly. He shrugged, still not meeting my eyes. "Does it matter? The point is, we're done. I want a divorce." My mind raced through everything I'd sacrificed. The promotion I'd turned down because he didn't want to relocate. The business opportunity I'd passed on because he needed me to host his work events. All those times I'd put his dreams first. "You're right," I said finally, my voice steadier than I felt. "We are done." Something in my tone made him look up. Maybe he expected tears. Begging. Instead, I walked past him toward our bedroom. That night, while Derek slept in the guest room, I lay awake thinking. Not about what I'd lost, but about what I'd given away. My career, my independence, my sense of self. I'd mold myself into the perfect corporate wife, attending endless dinners and networking events. Somewhere along the way, I'd forgotten who Emma Patterson was before she became Mrs. Derek Hartley. Around midnight, I pulled out my laptop. The business plan I'd written 2 years ago was still saved in my documents. Patterson Consulting, Executive Training and Development. I'd spent months developing it before Derek convinced me the timing wasn't right. His career needed stability, he'd said. Maybe later, he'd promised. Later never came. But now, at 33, I had nothing to lose. My phone buzzed with a text from my sister Caroline. "Are you okay?" Derek's Instagram story shows him at some bar downtown. I didn't bother checking. Instead, I opened my email and started drafting. The next morning, I contacted Marcus Reynolds. We'd worked together 5 years ago before I followed Derek to Boston. Marcus had since become CEO of a rapidly growing tech company in Seattle. "Emma Patterson," he said warmly when he answered my call. "I was just thinking about you last week. We're expanding our leadership development program." I explained my situation professionally, leaving out the personal details. Within 20 minutes, we'd outlined a consulting contract. It wasn't full-time, but it was a start. More importantly, it was mine. Derek emerged from the guest room looking rough. "Good. I'm moving to Seattle for work," I announced over coffee. His surprise was almost satisfying. "What? When did this happen?" "Last night. I start in 3 weeks." I watched him process this. He'd expected me to fall apart, to beg him to reconsider. Instead, I was leaving. "What about the house?" he asked. The house. Of course that's what concerned him. Not our marriage, not 8 years together. Just the assets. "Check the deed," I replied calmly. "It's in my name. My inheritance from Grandma Kate paid the down payment. You're listed as a resident, not an owner." I'd learned something from those years of supporting his career. I'd kept certain things separate. My inheritance. The small investment account I'd maintained. The property rights my grandmother had insisted I protect. Derek's face went pale. "You can't just kick me out." "I'm not. I'm leaving. You can stay here and pay the mortgage if you want. $1,500 a month, utilities not included." Or you can find somewhere else. I slid a folder across the table. I contacted a lawyer yesterday. These are preliminary divorce papers. No fault, simple division of assets. Since the house is mine and we kept separate bank accounts after Boston, it should be straightforward. 3 weeks felt like 3 months. Derek alternated between anger and attempted reconciliation. Ashley, apparently, lived with 2 roommates in a tiny apartment. The reality of leaving his comfortable life was setting in. "Emma, let's talk about this," he said one evening. Maybe we were too hasty. I was packing my home office, wrapping framed certificates and awards I'd earned before becoming his shadow. "You said I wasn't worth fighting for." "I'm just agreeing with you." I was angry. "I didn't mean it." "Yes, you did." I taped up another box. "You meant every word. You found someone younger, more exciting. Someone who thinks you're amazing because she doesn't know you yet." His jaw tightened. "That's not fair. What's not fair is me spending 8 years making you look good while my own career died. What's not fair is you throwing away our marriage via text message to Ashley while I was grocery shopping." I'd found the messages 2 days after his announcement. Months of texts, detailing their affair. Complaints about me, about our boring life. Plans for their future. Screenshots of everything now lived in my lawyer's files. "You went through my phone?" Derek looked genuinely offended. "You're having an affair and you're mad about privacy?" I shook my head. "This conversation is over. I'm leaving Thursday. The papers are with your lawyer. Sign them or don't, but either way, I'm done." Caroline arrived Tuesday to help me pack. She'd never liked Derek, had warned me about moving so much for his career. I should have listened. "You're really doing this," she said, looking around the half-empty house. "I'm really doing this." And for the first time in months, maybe years, I felt light. Free. Terrified, yes, but alive. Derek wasn't worth fighting for anymore. But I was. Seattle was raining when I arrived, which felt appropriate. Marcus had arranged temporary housing through the company, a furnished apartment near downtown. My first official meeting was Monday. I spent the weekend exploring the city, remembering what it felt like to make decisions based solely on what I wanted. Saturday afternoon, I walked into a boutique coffee shop and ordered something I actually liked instead of Derek's preference. Small victory, but it mattered. "Emma." A familiar voice made me turn. James Cooper stood there, looking successful and genuinely surprised. We'd dated briefly in college before life took us different directions. "James." "Wow, hi." He looked good. Really good. Confident, comfortable in his own skin. We'd reconnected on social media occasionally but hadn't seen each other in over a decade. "What brings you to Seattle?" We found a table, and I gave him the abbreviated version. New consulting contract, fresh start, recent separation. James listened without judgment. He was a corporate attorney now, based in Seattle for the past 6 years. "I'm sorry about your marriage," he said. "But honestly, you seem more like the Emma I remember. The one with big plans and bigger dreams. That Emma got lost somewhere between Dallas and Boston. Maybe she's not lost. Maybe she just took a detour." We talked for 2 hours, catching up properly. He was divorced too, 3 years ago. No kids. His ex-wife had wanted the high-powered attorney lifestyle without the actual attorney. They'd wanted different things. It happened. When we finally said goodbye, he handed me his business card. "If you need anything while settling in, or just want to grab coffee again, call me." I slipped the card into my pocket, smiling. Maybe Seattle was exactly where I needed to be. That evening, Derek called. I almost didn't answer. "The house sold," he said without preamble. "What?" I sat up straighter. I hadn't listed it yet. "I found a buyer. Corporate relocation, needs to close fast. They're offering 20,000 over asking." I felt my chest tighten. "Derek, you can't sell my house. Our house. I'm a resident, remember?" I contacted a realtor, explained the situation. They said, "Stop." My voice was ice. "That house is not yours to sell. Your name isn't on the deed. You have zero authority. My lawyer says because we're married, your lawyer is wrong. And if you've signed anything, you've just committed fraud. I was shaking now. Touch that property, and I'll have you arrested. Silence. Then, Ashley and I need the money to get our own place. So that was it. He wanted to cash out my inheritance to fund his new life. Not happening. Ever. That house was Grandma Kate's gift to me. You'll get nothing from it. I called my lawyer immediately. Within 2 hours, we'd filed an emergency injunction preventing any sale or transfer of the property. My lawyer also sent a strongly worded letter to Derek's attorney clarifying property law and threatening legal action if Derek attempted anything similar again. Your husband is making some interesting choices, my lawyer noted dryly. Add this to the evidence file, I said. I want everything documented. James called Tuesday evening, just to check in. I found myself telling him about Derek's attempted sale. That's bold, even for a desperate ex, James said. Want me to look over your property documents? Attorney to friend, no charge. I accepted. Something about James felt safe, familiar in the best way. He came by Wednesday evening with Thai food and legal expertise. We spread documents across my temporary dining table, reviewing everything. You're completely protected, he confirmed. The house is yours. He has no claim. My first week at work flew by. Marcus's team welcomed me warmly. My job was to develop and implement executive training programs, exactly what I'd wanted to do years ago. You're really good at this, Marcus said after my first workshop. I'd forgotten how natural you are with leadership development. I'd forgotten too, I admitted. That weekend, James invited me to a dinner party at his friend's house. Nothing romantic, just a casual gathering. I hesitated, then agreed. I wasn't ready for dating, but friendship sounded good. The party was comfortable and fun. James's friends were accomplished but down-to-earth. Nobody knew my history or Derek's betrayal. I was just Emma, the new consultant in town. You look happy, James observed later, walking me to my car. I think I am. Starting to be, anyway. He smiled. Good. You deserve it. Derek called Sunday night, drunk and emotional. I miss you, Em. You miss the house and the comfortable life, I replied calmly. Not me. That's not true. Ashley's not, he stopped himself. Ashley's not what? Not what you expected. Not worth leaving your marriage for? Silence confirmed everything. Emma, please. Can we just talk? We're talking now. Say what you need to say. He rambled for 10 minutes. Ashley was demanding and expensive. Her roommates were noisy. She wanted constant attention. Reality was setting in. I made a mistake, he finally admitted. Yes, you did. But that's not my problem anymore. I want to come to Seattle. Talk in person. Work things out. No. My voice was firm. I don't want that. I don't want you. I want the divorce finalized and I want to move forward with my life. I hung up before he could respond, then blocked his number. He could communicate through lawyers from now on. James and I fell into an easy friendship. Coffee twice a week, occasional dinners. He never pushed for more, seemed content with companionship. We talked about everything except my marriage and his divorce. Those topics were off-limits by mutual understanding. One evening, over sushi, he mentioned a case he was working on. A woman whose husband had tried to claim her business in their divorce, despite having no involvement in building it. She kept impeccable records, James said. Every dollar invested, every hour worked. He thought marriage meant automatic entitlement. Judge disagreed. Smart woman. She reminded me of you, actually. Prepared, protected. I thought about my grandmother's advice. Always keep something that's just yours, she told me. Love is wonderful, but independence is essential. Grandma Kate had been right. My phone buzzed with an email from my lawyer. Derek had finally signed the divorce papers. It was really over. 3 months in Seattle, I felt like a different person. My consulting business was thriving. Marcus had extended my contract and referred me to 2 other companies. I'd joined a professional women's networking group, made friends, built a life that was entirely mine. Derek had moved in with Ashley fully now. According to Caroline, who heard through mutual friends, they fought constantly. He'd taken a lower-paying job after his company downsized. Ashley was pressuring him about marriage. I felt nothing hearing this. Not satisfaction, not pity. Just nothing. Coffee. James texted Friday afternoon. We met at our usual spot. He seemed nervous, which was unusual. There's something I need to tell you, he started. That night at the dinner party, when I invited you, I had ulterior motives. I waited, curious. I wanted to see you outside of fresh divorcee context. To see if we still had chemistry. And I asked quietly. And we do. At least, I do. But I didn't want to push. You were healing, rebuilding. I was terrified of messing up our friendship. My heart raced. James. You don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. If you only ever want friendship, I can do that. But if you might want more someday, I'd like to be first in line. I looked at this man who'd given me space to heal, supported me without expectation, made me laugh when I'd forgotten how. I'm not ready yet, I said honestly. But I'm getting there. And when I am, I'd like to find out what more looks like with you. His smile was worth everything. I can wait. You're worth waiting for. Those words settled something inside me. Worth waiting for. Worth fighting for. Worth everything Derek had said I wasn't. The divorce was finalized in late November, 5 months after Derek's announcement. I signed the papers in my Seattle apartment, surrounded by evidence of my new life. My consulting business had grown enough that I'd registered it officially. Patterson Leadership Development had 3 corporate clients and a waiting list. Marcus wanted to discuss a partnership opportunity. I was building something real, something mine. Derek had called a few times from unknown numbers. I never answered. His life with Ashley was apparently crumbling. My life was just beginning. James and I were taking things slowly. Dinner dates, weekend hikes, long conversations about everything. He never made me feel rushed or pressured. You're different than you were in college, I told him one evening. We both are. Life does that. Changes you, hopefully for the better. Do you think you're better? I asked. I think I'm more careful. More aware. I know what I want now. Christmas approached, my first as a single woman in years. Caroline invited me home, but I declined. Seattle felt like home now. James invited me to spend the holiday with his family. I accepted, nervous but excited. His parents were warm and welcoming. They didn't pry about my past or ask uncomfortable questions. They just included me in their traditions, made me feel like I belonged. James talks about you constantly, his mother confided while we were preparing dinner. He's very careful about saying the right thing, but we can tell. You make him happy. He makes me happy too, I admitted. I'm just taking my time. Being sure. Smart girl. The good ones are worth taking time for. And my son is one of the good ones. She was right. James was patient, kind, supportive. Everything Derek hadn't been. After dinner, James and I walked through his parents' neighborhood, looking at Christmas lights. I have something to tell you, I said, taking his hand. My divorce is final. Officially. As of last week. How do you feel? Free. Ready. Hopeful. I stopped walking, turned to face him. I'm ready to try this. Us. For real. His kiss was gentle, perfect. Everything about James was right. We drove back to Seattle the next day, officially a couple. It felt natural, like we'd been building toward this all along. New Year's came, and with it, new opportunities. Marcus offered me a full partnership in an expanded leadership development division. I'd have equity, full creative control, and a salary that made my consulting fees look tiny. This is everything you wanted, James said when I told him. Maybe more. So why do you look worried? Because it's a lot. Big commitment. What if I fail? He took my hands. What if you succeed? Emma, you're brilliant at this. Stop doubting yourself. I accepted Marcus's offer in January. By February, I was leading a team of 5 trainers, developing programs for multiple corporations. My name was gaining recognition in the industry. Everything I'd sacrificed for Derek's career was finally mine. Late February, Caroline called with news. Derek and Ashley broke up. Apparently, she cheated on him with someone at work. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no sympathy. Derek was part of a past life. He's been asking about you, Caroline continued. Wants your number? I told him absolutely not. Good. Keep it that way. James and I were getting serious. We'd said I love you in January. By March, we were discussing the future openly. I don't want to rush you, James said one evening. But I also don't want to waste time pretending this isn't permanent. I'm all in, Emma. Completely. I am too, I realized. For the first time since Derek's announcement, I felt certain. This was right. April brought unexpected news. Derek had somehow gotten my work email and sent a long message. Apologetic, self-pitying, asking for another chance. I realize now what I lost. You were everything I needed, and I was too stupid to see it. Ashley was a mistake. You're my real partner. Can we please talk? I forwarded it to James without responding to Derek. Your call, James said. But for what it's worth, you deserve better than being someone's backup plan. He was right. I deleted the email without responding. Derek had told me I wasn't worth fighting for. I'd spent 9 months proving him wrong. Not to him, but to myself. My business was thriving. My relationship with James was healthy and strong. I'd rebuilt my entire life into something better than before. Emma Patterson? A voice called at a coffee shop the next day. I turned to see Ashley standing there, looking tired and older than 26. Can we talk? Against my better judgment, I agreed. We sat at a corner table, and Ashley looked genuinely uncomfortable. I owe you an apology, she started. What you did was wrong. You knew he was married. I know. I was stupid and selfish. I thought I was in love. She twisted her coffee cup. He told me you were cold, distant, that your marriage was basically over. He made me feel special, chosen. And now I realize he's a liar who says whatever he needs to get what he wants. He did it to you, then to me, probably to whoever's next. She looked up. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry. And that you dodged a bullet. I nodded slowly. Thank you for saying that. But honestly, I'm not dodging bullets anymore. I'm building a life where people like Derek can't even get close. Ashley left, and I sat there processing. A year ago, I'd been crying in my kitchen, feeling worthless. Now I was successful, loved, and completely unbothered by my ex-husband's attempts to crawl back. James met me for lunch, and I told him about Ashley's apology. How do you feel? He asked. Grateful. For everything that happened. Because if Derek hadn't left, I'd still be living half a life, pretending to be happy. That evening, James proposed. Nothing elaborate, just the 2 of us in his apartment, after dinner. I know it hasn't been long, he said. But I've known you for 15 years, loved you on and off for most of them. I don't want to waste another day. Marry me, Emma. Build a real partnership with me. I said yes without hesitation. This was nothing like Derek. This was choosing someone who chose me back, every day. We decided on a simple wedding in June. May brought more Derek drama. He'd somehow found my new address and showed up at my apartment building. Security called me at work. There's a Derek Hartley here claiming to be your husband. Should we let him up? Ex-husband. And absolutely not. If he doesn't leave, call the police. James handled the restraining order paperwork. Derek had crossed a line, and I was done being nice. The hearing was quick. Derek looked awful, desperate. His lawyer argued he just wanted closure. My lawyer presented the emails, the showing up uninvited, the pattern of harassment. The judge granted a 1-year order of protection. Derek couldn't contact me, come near me, or try to interfere in my life. It's really over, James said as we left the courthouse. It's really over, I agreed. And it was. Derek was finally, completely, in my past. June arrived with sunshine and new beginnings. James and I married in a small ceremony with close friends and family. Standing at the altar with James, I thought about Derek's words. You're not worth fighting for anymore. He'd been right about one thing. I wasn't worth fighting for anymore, because I'd learned to fight for myself. I'd built a successful business, created a life I loved, found a partner who valued me. I didn't need someone to fight for me. I needed someone to fight alongside me. I love you, James whispered as we said our vows. I love you too, I replied, meaning it completely. A year ago, I'd been lost, broken, convinced my life was ending. Instead, it had been beginning. Derek thought he was leaving me behind. Really, he'd just gotten out of my way. I wasn't his backup plan or second choice. I was my own priority, James's first choice, and that made all the difference. Later, at our small reception, Marcus gave a toast about second chances and new beginnings. Caroline cried happy tears. James's parents welcomed me into their family with open arms. I looked around at the life I'd built from the ashes of my marriage, and smiled. Derek had been wrong about everything. I was absolutely worth fighting for. I just had to learn to fight for myself first.